देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं
ततो जयमुदीरयेत्
जयमुदीरयेत्
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नष्टप्रायेषु अभद्रेषु
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
नित्यं भागवत सेवया
भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके
भगवतीरुत्तमश्लोके
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी
भक्तिर्भवति नैष्टिकी
Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, verse 35. Sapadi sakhi vacho nishamya madhye
सपदि सखी वचो निशम्य मध्ये
निज परयोर्बलयोरथं निवेश्य
निज परयोर्बलयोरथं निवेश्य
स्थितवति परसैनिकायुरक्षणा
स्थितवती परसैनिकायोरक्षणा
कृतवति पार्थ सखे रतिर्ममास्तु
कृतवती पार्थ सखे रतिमामात्सु
सपदि सखि वचो निशम्य मध्ये
सपदि सखी वचो निशाम्य मध्ये
निज परयोर्बलयोरथं निवेश्य
निज परयोर्बलयोरथं निवेश्य
स्थितवति परसैनिकायुरक्षणा
स्थितवती परसैनिकायोरक्षणा
कृतवति पार्थ सखे रतिर्ममास्तु
कृतवती पार्थ सखे रतिर्ममात्सु
सपदि सखि वचो निशम्य मध्ये
सपदि सखी वचो निशम्य मध्ये
निज परयोर्बलयोरथं निवेश्य
निज परयोर्बलयोरथं निवेश्य
स्थितवति परसैनिकायुरक्षणा
स्थितवती परसैनिकायोरक्षणा
स्थितवति पार्थ सखे रतिर्ममास्तु
कृतवती पार्थ सखे रतिर्ममात्सु
रतिर्ममास्तु. Translation and purport by Divine Grace of Charana Arvinda Bhakti Vedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Synonyms: Sapadi on the battlefield,
Sapadi on the battlefield,
Sakhivacha command of the friend,
Sakhivacha command of the friend,
Nishamya after hearing,
Nishamya after hearing,
Madhya in the midst,
Madhya in the midst,
Nija his own,
Nija his own,
Parayo and the opposite party,
Parayod and the opposite party,
Balayo strength,
Balayo strength,
Ratham chariot,
Ratham chariot,
Niveshya having entered,
Niveshya having entered,
Stitavati while staying there,
Stitavati while staying there,
Parasainika of the soldiers on the opposite side,
Parasainika of the soldiers on the opposite side,
Ayu duration of life,
Ayu duration of life,
Akshana by looking over,
Akshana by looking over,
Kritavati act of diminishing,
Kritavati act of diminishing,
Partha of Arjuna son of Pritha Kunti,
Partha of Arjuna son of Pritha Kunti,
Sakhe unto the friend,
Sakhe unto the friend,
Rati intimate relation,
Rati intimate relation,
Mama my,
Mama my,
Astu let there be.
Astu let there be.
Translation. Please repeat after me. In obedience to the command of his friend,
In obedience to the command of his friend,
Lord Sri Krishna entered the arena of the battlefield of Kurukshetra.
Lord Sri Krishna entered the arena of the battlefield of Kurukshetra
between the soldiers of Arjuna and Duryodhana.
between the soldiers of Arjuna and Duryodhana.
And while there, he shortened the lifespans of the opposite party by his merciful glance.
He shortened the lifespans of the opposite party by his merciful glance.
This was done simply by his looking at the enemy.
This was done simply by his looking at the enemy.
Let my mind be fixed upon that Krishna.
Let my mind be fixed upon that Krishna.
Purport.
In the Bhagavad Gita 1.21 to 25, Arjuna ordered the infallible Lord Sri Krishna to place his chariot between the phalanxes of the soldiers. He asked him to stay there until he had finished observing the enemies he had to face in the battle. When the Lord was so asked, he at once did so, just like an order carrier. And the Lord pointed out all the important men on the opposite side, saying, "Here is Bhishma, here is Drona," and so on. The Lord, being the supreme living being, is never the order supplier or order carrier of anyone, whoever he may be. But out of his causeless mercy and affection for his pure devotees, sometimes he carries out the order of the devotee like an awaiting servant. By executing the order of a devotee, the Lord becomes pleased, as a father is pleased to carry out the order of his small child. This is possible only out of pure transcendental love between the Lord and his devotees. And Bhishma Dev was quite aware of this fact. He therefore addressed the Lord as the friend of Arjuna. The Lord diminished the duration of life of the opposite party by his merciful glance. It is said that all the fighters who assembled on the battlefield of Kurukshetra attained salvation by personally seeing the Lord at the time of death. Therefore, his diminishing the duration of life of Arjuna's enemy does not mean that he was partial to the cause of Arjuna. Factually, he was merciful to the opposite party because they would not have attained salvation by dying at home in an ordinary course of life. Here was a chance to see the Lord at the time of death and thus attain salvation from material life. Therefore, the Lord is all good, and whatever he does is for everyone's good. Apparently, it was for the victory of Arjuna, his intimate friend, but factually it was for the good of Arjuna's enemy. Such are the transcendental activities of the Lord, and whoever understands this also gets salvation after quitting this material body. The Lord does no wrong in any circumstances because he is absolute, all good at all times.
हरिओम तत्सतोमज्ञानतिमिरान्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते जयपताक स्वामिन् इति नामिने नमो आर्यपदाय निताय कृपप्रदायिने गौरकथा दामधाय नगरग्रामतारिणे नमो विष्णुपदाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्त स्वामिन्निति नामिने नमस्ते सरस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादे पाश्चात्यादिशतारिणे जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे हरिहराय नमः कृष्ण यादवाय नमः गोपाल गोविंद राम श्री मधुसूदनां Mukang Karo Divachalam Pangun Langai Tegirim Yat Kripa Tamaham Mande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Mishwaram Hari Om. That's it. Very, very beautiful translation, and again a very beautiful purport. So Lord Krishna is taking full pleasure in obeying the order of his devotees. It is a rasa, a mellow that Lord is enjoying, that the conditioned soul cannot even understand that. Because it does not challenge the supremacy of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, as mentioned by Srila Prabhupada in the purport of Srimad Bhagavad Gita itself, when Arjuna said, Ratam stapayit me Arjuna, Sayanayor Upayor Madhye. Please take the chariot and then place it in between amidst both the party, and let me see who will come here to lay down their life for Duryodhana. So the time the Lord was taking so much pleasure, and immediately he obeyed the order, and he has moved the chariot in between amidst both the party, and Bhishma was observing that. Bhishma was so much meditating on Krishna that when Krishna came to the battlefield with Arjuna as a charioteer driver, Bhishma was most pleased actually. And Bhishma was witnessing how beautifully, on the command of his friend, the Krishna was driving the chariot so beautifully, so elegantly, and then he brought it in the midst of both sides of the army. And by the glance, only pure devotee authorities, Mahajanas, can understand what is the purpose of the glance of the Lord. Sometimes his glance creates the material maintain a world and maintains and annihilates. Sometimes his glance reduces the span of life of the enemies who is doing in favor. The Lord is doing it in the favor of Arjuna, but it has gone into the favor of the enemies. This is the beauty of the Lord's activity, because Lord sees no one as his enemy or friend. However, a pure devotee to whom Lord is naturally inclined. So that is the position of Lord Krishna, and Bhishma Dev is able to appreciate that at this point of death also, that how wonderfully the Lord has benefited the enemies. As soon as he made him benefit Arjuna, he benefited the enemies first as soon as he comes. Otherwise, in the normal course of activities of normal walk of life, there is no chance of going beyond the three modes of material nature and getting salvation in life for those soldiers. No chance at all. So, but Krishna's mercy, what type of glance Krishna had on them, is also experienced and expressed by Bhishma Dev. Krishna has given a merciful glance on the enemies. So this is very noteworthy. Lord Jagannath is most merciful. The red color around his eyes are showing the mercy of the Lord. Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra, Maya, and Sudarshan. So we need to understand how merciful glance would look like. Jagannath eyes are merciful glance. And in the Dhamma of Mayapur, Sridham Mayapur, Radharani's glance is a merciful glance. Krishna, Radha Madhava's glance is very merciful glance. Audariya Dhamma it is called. Unlimitedly mercy personified in the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Unlimited mercy. Lord is supreme. Lord is unlimited in every respect. But in one appearance, he would like to exhibit one of his opulent. But as Lord Chaitanya, when Swayam Bhagavan Krishna came as Lord Chaitanya, he has exhibited mercy unlimitedly. So the same Krishna 5,000 years ago, when he came in the battlefield of Kurukshetra, he has shown the merciful glance on the enemies. The enemies never knew that, but Bhishma Dev knew that. Bhishma is a Mahajana, is a pure devotee, so he can understand what the Lord is doing. Even Arjuna may not know, because Arjuna was not seeing at the glance of Lord. The Lord was glancing on the enemy soldiers, and he has reduced the lifespan immediately for all of them for the victory of his friend Arjuna, but it has gone into the favor of the enemies who has attained salvation. So this is something very noteworthy about the quality of the Supreme Lord, how, effortlessly and how very easily, how without any kind of, feeling enmity, he is favoring them. He knows that by looking them mercifully, they will be benefited. They are enemies of Arjuna, his friend. But Lord has looked at them mercifully. Just to understand this particular Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam. His appearance, his activities are not material. It is totally transcendental. It is proving at every step by Krishna. Every step. What is the difficulties in understanding Janma Karma Cha Me Divyam Yevam Yo Veti Tattvatra when Krishna says that? Not at all difficult by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, Guru Maharaj and the Acharya Parampara, Lord Chaitanya. So they have given it so nicely that every step you will be able to witness that the Lord's activities are transcendental. So though he acted as a driver to his friend, though he has accepted the command of his friend and then obeyed that particular order, still his transcendental supremacy is not challenged. And when he went there, he has looked at the enemies of Arjuna with merciful glance. Just see. Can anyone see the enemy with mercy? So he's already enemy. And enemies of friend. Enemies of friend is as good as enemy of self. That is very natural. Who else could prove the friendship better than Krishna? He has already proved. And such a wonderful personality, he has seen the opposite party, the merciful glance. This is that kindness of Krishna. Is extremely, his kindness knows no bound. It's beyond extreme. That is Krishna. Is unlimited. Unlimited. So, and while he is mercifully glancing and benefiting all the enemies, thousands and thousands of enemies, more than 32 crore enemies were there. And simultaneously has reduced their lifespan by merciful glance and given them salvation in this very same life, from this very same body. He appeared before them in such a way that they can see him on their deathbed. They see Krishna face to face. This is the award that he has given, Lord Krishna, without any credit on their side. They didn't perform any such pious activities to see Krishna face to face, or they didn't perform any devotional service. But Krishna is very merciful. He is very kind. So without you do anything, he simply does give benefits. He benefits all the living entities. And what to speak of the devotee who is only living for Krishna? Tell me. So Krishna lives only for them. This is the beauty of it. And not only that, he has glanced mercifully the enemies and, reduced the lifespan and awarded them salvation, but also he is introducing to his friend, see, here is Bhishma, here is Drona. Oh, everybody he is showing. That is the very, it's beyond inconceivable potency that Krishna has there. He's making himself visible to even to the gross material eyes of the enemies. And, out of mercy, seeing them, giving them salvation. Who would ever do that? Enemy would only kill. Enemy would not liberate. But here Krishna, the friend of Arjuna, has liberated the enemy of Arjuna. Just see. This is called causeless mercy. Okay. And he has mercy and affection abundantly for his pure devotees. And because of the mercy and affection on Arjuna, which is abundant comparing to the merciful glance the others have received, if enemies could receive such a merciful glance and get liberated, then what to see as friend here, friend and devotee? How much mercy and affection Arjuna would have? That Arjuna, he has become order carrier of Arjuna. This is the beauty of Krishna. Who can understand such a wonderful kindness and merciful, Krishna? Very beautifully, Prabhupada has given so beautiful, perfect explanation that when a father is very pleased to carry out the order of his small child, very happily the father does that, carrying the child on his back and walking on 4 legs like an animal. A great father. He may be an IAS officer in the office, but at home he is like that. So this is the pleasure out of affection. The father, even the mundane material world, you are able to witness this and experience this. Then what to speak of the supreme being and the supreme father and the supreme spiritual being, where Arjuna is totally dependent on only Krishna and so affectionate friend. So he takes pleasure in becoming a driver of the chariot. And only pure devotees can understand. And only pure devotees can have such wonderful transcendental love and affectionate exchange between the Lord and his devotees, possible only with pure devotees. And Bhishma Deva is aware of this fact because Bhishma Deva is a pure devotee. And that is the reason Bhishma Deva addressed the Lord more than the carrier of the wheel of the chariot. He addressed the Lord at the time of death of himself. Only he addressed the Lord as a friend of Arjuna. Arjuna Sake, Saka Vijaya Sake. Arjuna Sake, Vijaya Sake. So like that, he only addressed Krishna as a friend of Arjuna, for he knows how much mercy and affection Krishna has towards Arjuna. How much Krishna feels Arjuna as his best friend. This is felt by Srila Bhishma Deva, and Bhishma Deva knows that Krishna will be most pleased when I glorify Arjuna, because Krishna gave all the glories to Arjuna. This is something, very extraordinary. And Bhishma is very expert at the time of death. In his deathbed, pierced through his body the arrows and laying on the bed of arrows. Bhishma is here, very clear sound knowledge and sound mind. He is not feeling any pain of his body or anything material. He is not feeling. He is seeing Krishna as the Vijaya Saka or Arjuna Saka. That is the beauty of it. And he is mentioning here what Krishna did first time when he entered into the arena of the battlefield on the order of his friend Arjuna. He is telling very clearly, whoever would have understood and would have expressed it. Lord is not propagating what he is doing, but pure devotee can understand. So it is because of Bhishma's mercy that we know that the Lord has glanced mercifully on the enemies and, reduced the duration of life and awarded them salvation. Just to see. Only pure devotee can know that. Lord will not tell what he has done. So the pure devotee will glorify the Lord for his activities. That is why pure devotees are very dear to the Lord. So the Lord is always all good. Doesn't matter what he does, it is always good for everyone. Though he may be doing only for Arjuna, but the enemies are much more benefited. That is the beauty of this Krishna. So that is why, Janma Karma Chame Divyam Evam Yoveti Tattvatha. We must, from the pure devotees, hear that activities of transcendental activities of the Lord and appearance of the Lord. So whoever understands this also gets salvation after quitting this material body. This is given in the Bhagavad Gita, chapter 4, verse 9. Anyone such transcendental activities of the Lord is understanding, they don't get another body. Not only the Lord has given salvation to all the enemies, but also anyone who understands this. And Bhishma is telling that, you see, to all. So that Bhishma is benefiting everybody by mentioning this truth. That is the beautiful thing. So according to for the Lord's activity being transcendental, there is nothing called right or wrong for the Lord. And he is absolute. In absolute, if you consider as wrong in material world, that is also right in absolute plane. That is why all good at all times. The Lord, whatever he does, is all good at all times to everybody. That is the beauty of Krishna. So we'll go to the next verse. Shantagopi, you want to speak anything, or we'll go to the next verse?
We'll go to the next verse.
Okay. Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto 1, Chapter 9, verse 36. Vyavahita pratna mukham nirikshya.
Vyavahita pratana mukham nirikshya.
Vajana vadhad vimukhasya dosha buddhya.
Sajana bahad vimokshya dosha buddhya.
Kumati maharad atma vidyayayash.
Kumati maharad atma vidyayash.
Charanarati paramasya tasya mestu.
Charanarati paramasya tasya mestu.
Vyavahita pruthana mukham nirikshya.
व्यवहिता प्रतानमुखं निरीक्ष्य
स्वजनवधाद् विमुखस्य दोषबुद्ध्या
स्वजनवधात् विमुक्ष्य दोषबुद्ध्या
कुमतिम् अहरदात्मविद्यया यश
कुमतिम् अहरात् आत्मविद्यया यः
शरणरति परमस्य तस्य मेस्तु
शरणरति परमस्य तस्य मे अस्तु
व्यवहित प्रतनामुखं निरीक्ष्य स्वजनवहात् विमुक्ष्य दोषबुद्ध्या
स्वजनवधाद् विमुखस्य दोषबुद्ध्या
कुमतिमहरत् आत्मविदया
कुमतिमहरत् आत्मविद्यया यश
चरणरति परमस्य तस्य मेस्तु
शरणरति परमस्य तस्य मेस्तु
Synonyms: Vyavahita, standing at a distance.
Vyavahita, standing at a distance.
Pritana, soldiers.
Pritana, soldiers.
Mukham, faces.
Mukham, faces.
Nirikshya, by looking upon.
Nirikshya, by looking upon.
Svajana, kinsmen.
Svajana, kinsmen.
Vadhat, from the act of killing.
Vadhat, from the act of killing.
Vimukasya, one who is reluctant.
Vimukasya, one who is reluctant.
Dosha buddhya, by polluted intelligence.
by polluted
intelligence.
Pumathim, poor fund of knowledge.
Poor fund of
knowledge.
Aharat, eradicated.
Aharat,
eradicated.
Atmavidyaya, by transcendental knowledge.
Atmavidyaya, by transcendental knowledge.
Ya, he who.
He who.
Charana, to the feet.
Charana, to the feet.
Rati, attraction.
Rati,
attraction.
Paramasya, of the Supreme.
Paramasya
of the Supreme.
Tasya, for him.
Tasya, for him.
May my. Astu, let there be.
Astu, let there be.
Sorry, translation, please repeat after me. When Arjuna was seemingly polluted by ignorance.
When Arjuna was seemingly polluted by ignorance.
Upon observing the soldiers and commanders before him on the battlefield.
Upon observing the soldiers and commanders before him on the battlefield.
The Lord eradicated his ignorance by delivering transcendental knowledge.
The Lord eradicated his ignorance by delivering transcendental knowledge.
May his lotus feet always remain the object of my attraction.
May his lotus feet always remain the
object of my attraction. Purport. The kings and the commanders were to stand in the front of the fighting soldiers. That was the system of actual fighting. The kings and commanders were not so-called presidents or ministers of defense as they are today. They would not stay home while the poor soldiers or mercenaries were fighting face to face. This may be the regulation of modern democracy, but when actual monarchy was prevailing, the monarchs were not cowards elected without consideration of qualification. As it was evident from the battlefield of Kurukshetra, all the executive heads of both parties, like Drona, Bhishma, Arjuna, and Duryodhana, were not sleeping. All of them were actual participants in the fighting, which was selected to be executed at a place away from the civil residential quarters. This means that the innocent citizens were immune from all effects of fighting between the rival royal parties. The citizens had no business in seeing what was going to happen during such fighting. They were to pay 1/4 of their income to the ruler, whether he be Arjuna or Duryodhana. All the commanders of the parties on the battlefield of Kurukshetra were standing face to face, and Arjuna saw them with great compassion and lamented that he was to kill his kinsmen on the battlefield for the sake of the empire. He was not at all afraid of the giant military phalanx presented by Duryodhana, but as a merciful devotee of the Lord, renunciation of worldly things was natural for him, and thus he decided not to fight for worldly possessions. But this was due to a poor fund of knowledge, and therefore it is said here that his intelligence became polluted. His intelligence could not be polluted at any time because he was a devotee and constant companion of the Lord, as is clear in the fourth chapter of the Bhagavad Gita. Apparently, Arjuna's intelligence became polluted because otherwise there would not have been a chance to deliver the teachings of Bhagavad Gita for the good of all polluted conditioned souls engaged in material bondage by the conception of the false material body. The Bhagavad Gita was delivered to the conditioned souls of the world to deliver them from the wrong conception of identifying the body with the soul, and to re-establish the soul's eternal relation with the Supreme Lord. Atma Vidya, or transcendental knowledge of himself, was primarily spoken by the Lord for the benefit of all concerned in all parts of the universe.
That's it. Oh, echoing. Sorry. Okay. So, that's it. Om Ajnanati Mirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Sri Guruve Namaha. Ugam Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langayate Girim Yat Kripatamaham Vande Sri Gurum Dinatarinam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanya Ishwaram Nam Hari Om Tat Sat. So here, very wonderful, very beautiful verse, like what Bhishma Dev is meditating upon. So people have many questions about how the Bhagavad Gita was spoken, who listened to it, like this. So during the speaking of Bhagavad Gita, what happened in the war field, these kind of questions. So here Bhishma Dev is giving the evidence, and he is the authority, and he has seen the truth, the Supreme Lord and his dear friend Arjuna and their conversation right in front of his eyes. So in the last verse, he is mentioning that how, like an order carrier, Lord carried out the order of Arjuna because of love and affection. So many times when we say the relationship between the Supreme Lord and the Jiva and the soul is actually master and servant, people cannot digest this. How can I be the servant of somebody? That is the intention of the material world. But in spiritual world, you see who is actually driving the chariot and who is sitting. So Arjuna is the primary war, the person who is fighting the war, and Krishna is just taking the chariot as a driver. And of course, he is giving his expert counseling and guidance. On his guidance, Arjuna is fighting. But still, Krishna acted as a driver out of affection. It's a great loving exchange between the devotee and the Lord, that the so-called in the material world, whatever ego we are having, based on which it's not prestige, not ego, but prestige we are having, in which this who is high, who is low, and all these things are not there. It's the love which binds, like Prabhu said, like father and son. The Prabhupada is also mentioning here. But one special one sentence I would like to highlight here. So Krishna, he shortened the lifespan of the opposite party by his merciful glance. Generally, when people pray to God, please give me mercy, please give me mercy, people think that my lifespan will be long. He will bless me. That when some people, they come to Guru Maharaj, come to pure devotees, just to get, please bless me, Swamiji, please bless me, Swamiji. A common man generally, who is not properly educated in Krishna consciousness, we can understand very clearly whether the person is neophyte or not. They expect material blessing. So when they expect material blessing, then how can they understand Krishna shortened the lifespan of the opposite party by his merciful glance? How can shortening the life be mercy? So when somebody comes across Krishna, then already they are liberated. Already they are liberated. If they are left alone again, they will start creating their karma again. New karma, they'll entangle again and again and again. So one very nice example Prabhupada is giving a story. Like one lady, she was an old lady, she was there in the forest, and her job is collecting the wood, dry wood which is fallen sticks in the forest, and she'll tie it up and she'll keep it on her head and she'll come and sell it. She was having a livelihood like that, and of course some wood she'll use for burning and all that. So one day she was becoming old and she was tired, and one time every day she used to do this. And one day she felt very uneasy. She was not able to carry the load. She wanted somebody to take it and keep on head. In the forest, nobody will be there to help. Generally, when there is a heavy basket, they will say, hey, give a hand here. And they will take, and we just give a hand, and that basket can be kept on top of the head like this. So, but she never had anybody. Now she has tied all the wood and she wants somebody to help. And so nobody was there. She was really frustrated. Okay. So she was thinking, and she wanted to take that log. Then she started crying. What is my pathetic situation? And she started, hey Bhagwan, hey Bhagwan, hey Bhagwan, God, God, like this. She was. Then immediately Lord appeared. Okay, you called me. For what you called me? Oh, then she's seeing directly God. And she said, hey Bhagwan, Bhagwan, and Bhagwan came. No problem, Krishna is there. Then she said, what do you want? She could have asked for anything, but she said, please put this log on my head. Please put this package on my head. Because nobody is there to help. This is the help I require. And again, I'll carry the same heavy load. Same way, sometimes, like we hear that even if somebody is chanting one time Hare Krishna mantra or Krishna's name, they are getting liberated. And this is truth, and this is told by Haridas Thakur. But what do they do immediately after that? For example, in South India and all, there is a very famous sweet shop called Krishna Sweets. So many people say, where did you buy this? Krishna Sweets, Krishna, Krishna, Krishna. They're pronouncing Krishna's name. And once it is finished, Krishna's name, they finish, they immediately, or they are getting liberated at that particular point of time from all karma, mukti, they are getting. But that very next moment, they start performing new karma and getting entangled. Very, very short duration in Kali Yuga. In very short duration, a heavy entanglement is possible. Very, very simple activity will do, that will be a great sinful activity. Very simple activity. We are just using the restroom and we are flushing. It is mentioned in scriptures, it is very, very big sin to flush the shit in the water. So in this way, every minute, every second, the opportunity for performing sin is there. Padam padam, yatvi patam natesham. So Krishna, here in the war field, they have come and Krishna has glanced on them. Once Krishna's glance was on everybody, because he is explaining, he has come, he has come, he has come, he has come, which actually means Krishna is seeing. So when Krishna's glance is on somebody, Mukunda, immediately, any way you get connected with Krishna, then you are liberated that very moment. Because only Krishna cannot touch matter. Krishna cannot touch matter. So when Krishna's glance is touching somebody, they become absolute in nature. They become transcendental. That is how when we are offering prasadam also to the Lord, Bhoga, how the Bhoga becomes transcendental is by Anganiyasya Sagalendriya Vritti Manti Pashyanti Panti Kalayanti Silam Jaganti. So Anganiyasya Sagalendriya Vritti Manti. All the senses can do all the other senses activities. So simply Krishna's merciful glance, he can do anything. All the angas will do the other angas job. So they become connected with the absolute person, absolute Supreme Lord. And immediately they become transcendental, which actually means liberated. But once the glance is gone and they are left again in the material world, if they are left, then what will happen? Then again they'll create new karma and then be again entangled. Put the log again back on my head. Punar Mushiko Baba. There's another story also there. So here Krishna is liberating, and then then they kill. He kills, finish the body. Finish. So he reduces the lifespan. So sometimes, and the Guru Maharaj also today, I was listening to a lecture in which Guru Maharaj is telling, like Prahlad Maharaj is describing this material world like a chakki or whatever, the grinding stone, where the grains are being ground into powder. Same way the living entities are being ground by time, and people die. This has to be accepted. We are not the body, we are spirit, soul, and it's a vehicle, and the vehicle is destroyed. You consider it inauspicious. So this is how this Prahlad Maharaj is telling, very pathetic place this is. He's describing two qualities. One is, it is like a grinding stone which grinds the grain into pieces. Same way, it is near and dear ones are simply dying and dying and dying. By some reason or other, they are disappearing around us. And we are missing them like this. Suddenly, they keep happening. It keeps happening. So Guru Maharaj also quoted that he also lost many people around him. He is seeing. And Prabhupada also he lost. So in this way, he's telling, like it's a chakki. It's like grinding and finishing. And another one is, what is undesirable has to be accepted. What you don't like, it will be forced on you. You don't like it, but it will be forced on you. So this is also another quality of material world. Like this is what Prahlad Maharaj's perception is explaining and how true it is. And Guru Maharaj said at that time I understood how this, we are so very different from this body, and this material world bhutva praliyate, Brahma and all. In 1 minute he was seeing pralaya again and again. 1 minute of his life, 1 hour, every hour there is many Chaturyugas finishing. So in every Chaturyuga there is pralaya. In every pralaya many people are dying. So Dhira will not get affected by this. So this is what is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita. So here immediately he is remembering how Krishna shortened the lifespan by his merciful glance. So he is remembering how Krishna took his chariot, a yellow color garment, glittering garments, all these Vijayasaka he's seeing, and then all between, see, Sri Krishna entered the arena, soldiers of Arjuna and Duryodhana. So in both the parties, they actually died. It's not just one party, all Duryodhana party died and all other. No, he actually liberated every single person. Whoever died, they saw Krishna and they died, which means they were liberated from material bondage. So this is the speciality. Everybody is hankering for, I don't want next birth, mukti. Everybody is hankering for mukti. And it's so simply awarded even for the enemy soldiers of Kurukshetra war. This is the speciality of Bhagavad Gita. And here Bhagavad Gita is being glorified by Bhishmadev. How he is explaining in a very short verse what actually Bhagavad Gita is. How sweetly, when Arjuna was seemingly polluted by ignorance upon observing the soldiers. So Arjuna, he's observing the enemies in the battlefield. That is the first chapter. Take the Bhagavad Gita first chapter heading. What is the heading of the first chapter? Observing the armies of Kurukshetra. Armies in the battlefield, I think. Observing the armies. So once he observed the armies, Mata, Data, Pitamaha, why I should kill all my kinsmen, this, that, and all these reasons he's giving. Arjuna is polluted. He becomes polluted when he sees this, and material emotion arises in the heart. And that is called pollution. That is called contamination. That is called dirty, ugly. When you're having material emotion and Never ever compare transcendental emotion which you are having with Guru and Krishna to the mundane material people around us, and we have some emotion. Sometimes we see some movies like Bahubali and all. Bahubali, so much emotion they show. And sometimes people go to the movies and they cry. And they become emotional. Same way, the same like movie or a dream in which you see something and in dream you cry or fear. That is not real. Same way, the people around you, the emotions which you are having, you should not give the genuine emotion to the people around you. And this is, that's polluted actually. It's, of course, we have some genuine affection when we get a child. Naturally, we'll have affection. That natural affection should not be stopped. But unnecessarily engaging in hearing some movie songs and extra increasing the lust, all these are not required. That is called pollution. So when Arjuna seems to be polluted, because Arjuna is the eternal associate of Krishna, he never gets polluted, but he seems to be polluted by observing the soldiers and commanders before him in the battlefield. This is the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. So Bhishma Dev is seeing how Arjuna was really taken aback, like all my relatives, Kimno, Rajena, Govinda, Kimboge, Jivitena. He's telling Mata, Data, Pitamaha, and he's also telling what is that, Jadi Dharma, Kula Dharma, Sri Susushna, Shuvarshneya, Varna Shankara, all the ladies get polluted and like this. He's seeing, and his heart is melting, and that is not actually required for a devotee, but it's seemingly polluted. It's a polluted feelings, okay? The Lord eradicated his ignorance by delivering transcendental knowledge. So for such a polluted intelligence, when we see kinsmen die, how we can get out of this illusion or ignorance or pollution? Simply by reading Bhagavad Gita. Simply. How we are also benefited due to the conversation. And Bhishma Dev is observing this. Like as Prabhu said, complete attention of Bhishma was on this feet. His grandson, Arjuna, pure devotee, and the Supreme Lord sitting as a charioteer there, and his complete concentration was there. This is proved here. The Lord eradicated his ignorance by delivering transcendental knowledge. So he knows that Bhagavad Gita has happened between Krishna and Arjuna. May his lotus feet always remain the object of my attraction. So the person speaker of Bhagavad Gita, we see that the beautiful Bhagavad Gita picture in the book. When you buy Bhagavad Gita, you see that beautiful Krishna and Arjuna in the chariot. And Prabhupada was very particular. This picture only should be in the cover of Bhagavad Gita. It's very essential. So in earlier days also there was Patachitra, when they used to draw. So that very, very wonderful pastime. When Lord Chaitanya came to South India, there was in Srirangam, this beautiful pastime happened. Srirangam is a place which is in South India, in Tiruchirappalli district. And very, very one of the biggest temples in entire world, we can say, like very big temple, Asia, I think, biggest temple. We can say at least in India, it's the biggest temple, 100% sure. So such a big campus. So you go inside and inside. Now they have put a lot of shops and all that. So you're not seeing the original architecture, because there are 7 compound walls built around it. 7 compound walls built around it. And then there is internally, there is the Lord, a very beautiful Ranganath Swami. So like Chaitanya during rainy season, he was staying there and he was going every day to the temple. And I think this is in Trivandrum. Is it in Srirangam or Trivandrum? I think in Trivandrum this pastime happened. I'm not very sure in Srirangam or Trivandrum. So during his South India tour, he was in that temple. So when he visited the temple, he saw that one man, he was holding Bhagavad Gita in his hand, and he was holding it upside down, and he doesn't know to read, and he was blabbering, reading, not proper pronunciation. He's making mistakes, and like this blabbering, like this, he is keeping Bhagavad Gita. And all the learned scholars, Sanskrit people, they're laughing at him. And there were some people sitting there and making fun of him. What this person, he doesn't know to read Bhagavad Gita. Full day he's acting as if he's sitting and reading Bhagavad Gita like this. So then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu saw this person, and this person was crying and crying and crying. And he was reading Bhagavad Gita, trying to read. He was not reading. Sometimes he keeps that palm leaf upside down also. Those days, it was all palm leaves and all. He keeps it upside down also. So in this way, so Lord Chaitanya saw that he's not able to read, but he's just full day doing this. Every single day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu watched it. So one day, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went to him and asked, "My dear sir, why are you crying? Why are you why are you trying to read Bhagavad Gita? No? Then he said like, no, I actually don't know to read and write. I'm an illiterate. So that is why people laugh at him, because he's an illiterate, but he's trying to read Bhagavad Gita. I'm an illiterate. I don't know to read and write, but I'm trying to read Bhagavad Gita. Then he said, why should you do that? Because my Guru ordered me to do so. My Guru Maharaj told me to read Bhagavad Gita. But this person is illiterate, but he's holding Bhagavad Gita and trying. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, then you don't understand. No, I am trying. I don't understand anything. I cannot read also. Then he said, then why are you crying so heavily? You're crying every day. You're crying. Your tears are flowing from your eyes. Then that person is telling, no, I'm just seeing the cover. I'm seeing that picture. I'm seeing how the Supreme Lord has become the chariot driver of Arjuna. Arjuna is a devotee, but Krishna is Supreme Lord. And it is master-servant relationship. But how he's nicely Bhakta Vatsala, he's coming and serving his devotee, and he's sitting as a driver and he's driving the chariot in accordance of the order of Arjuna. Thinking like this only, I'm feeling like crying. I'm feeling like crying so much. Then Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hugged him again, and he said, my dear Lord, you have attained what will be attained simply by trying to fulfill the order of your spiritual master. Simply by this, you have attained the fruit of reading Bhagavad Gita. You've already attained it. And he's hugged. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu hugged him very nicely, and he came. So, how this person is not even a reader reading Bhagavad Gita, but simply by seeing that form. So Prabhupada is very particular, seeing this one form, that how Arjuna is being instructed by Krishna, or Arjuna being the chariot driver of Arjuna, simply by thinking about this wonderful quality of Krishna, that despite he is the Supreme Lord, he is just very sweetly coming to be friendly, and also exchanging this very close friendship with Arjuna. Like Prabhu was mentioning, friends' enemies are also one's enemy. That is a proving of friendship, and Krishna is a perfect friend. But still, he mercifully glanced. Mercifully. So this is the speciality. He is not partial. At the same time, he's partial to his devotees. He's impartial at the same time. Nobody is, oh, he's my enemy. So Krishna, I am a devotee of Krishna. He's my enemy. He'll be destroyed. No, enemy will also be benefited. Even the destruction is a benefit. And a devotee genuinely will not have enemy. If you have an enemy, then you have a serious problem.
Like Bali Maharaj, Indra is also a devotee.
Indra is also a devotee. So Indra called the Supreme Lord to stop the Bali Maharaj's yajna. So when Krishna came, and Indra was very proud, Krishna came to save him and give his seat back, Indra seat, 14 planetary system, he'll be ruling. If not 14, of course, he rules only the Bhuloka and Bhuraloka and Suvarloka. That much only Indra is ruling, but still so proud. Manu and all are above Indra. And we'll see in Bhagavatam complete architecture. And then he's so proud, and he called Krishna because there is a danger for his position. And for his position, then you know where Krishna appeared? He appeared as the younger brother of Indra, Upendra, same father mother, Aditi and Kashyapa, same Aditi Kashyapa. Vamanadeva appeared. So Upa means sibling, Indra's sibling, brother, younger brother, Vamanadev, sweet little young Brahmana boy, he appeared. And then he immediately grew into a small dwarf, a baby, and immediately within the same day, all the demigods worshipped him with giving various things. They thought it's a war, Lord is going to snatch away the kingdom and give back. And he went there and became friendly with Bali Maharaj, and then he went and started living with a cousin. Same father they have. Ashura and Deva have the same source. Aditi and Titi are two sisters, and they are married to Kashyapa Rishi, Kashyapa Muni. And Aditi begot all Devas, demigods, and Titi gave birth the demons. The first demon was Hiranyakashipu and Hiranyakshaka, twins. They are the first demons. And from there the heritage come. But Bali Maharaj, now he is living in Sutala planet along with Bali Maharaj, enjoying his company every day. Every day Bali Maharaj is having transcendental loving pastimes. That is why Bali is a Mahajana, Prahlad is a Mahajana. But Indra is not listed in Mahajana. Indra called Krishna. And on call, of course, Indra is a devotee. On calling of Indra, Lord came as Vamana. Came, okay, I came. Don't think I will destroy the enemy. You wanted what? Kingdom? No. Wealth? No. You got? No. Take it and run away. He got me. He got me. Krishna is the greatest wealth. So Bali is the most wealthiest person in this universe because he has got Vamanadeva as his associate and friend. And he's telling like how for Arjuna, he became a charioteer. For Bali Maharaj, he became a doorkeeper. He became security chief. You know who's the chief security of Bali Maharaj? Our dear Vamanadev. In this way, so sweet, and cousin's house, he's going and living in the cousin's house. He's not living in the demigod planet. Despite he was born in the demigod planet as the brother of Indra, he can be in a royal kingdom. No, he's not in the royal kingdom. So very, very amazing. This relationship with Krishna and his devotees are the most relishing. One will really hanker for this. This is the greatest perfection. The greatest perfection is to achieve this personal relationship with the Supreme Lord in any one of the rasa. That doesn't matter. The Guru will decide. So what will give pleasure? Krishna always wants varieties, and nobody need to compete with nobody because Krishna never tastes the same taste again. So everybody is unique, every single person, and spiritual world is full of varieties. There is absolutely no uniformity. Absolutely no uniformity in spiritual world. So there is nobody is competitive to anybody. Throw away all the envy. If you are a devotee and if you are envying somebody, just kick it off because it is not spiritual. Why? Because in spiritual world, Because in spiritual world, there is absolutely everybody is individually giving pleasure. And Krishna has to create separate shadows in order to create such competitive mentality. He's creating shadows like Radharani. He created somebody called Chandravali. So Radharani's father is Vrishabhanu Maharaj. And the Vrishabhanu Maharaj had a brother, Chandrabhanu. And the Chandrabhanu is having a daughter. So they are cousin sisters, Radharani and Chandravali. Chandravali is created specifically by Krishna in order to enhance this competition or this thing. This is like Chaya. This is like shadow. So same way, the Radharani also had a husband, Abhimanyu. That's also like a shadow because Krishna specifically created. Because in spiritual world, genuinely surrendered servants are all empowered by Antaranga Shakti. The original devotees will always be Radharani's devotees only. So in order to enhance, there are shadows which are competitive things created by Krishna in order to enhance the rasa, to yield more from the devotee, specifically pure devotees who are surrendered to Srimati Radharani. So you want to enhance that. So there is when we are in the association of loving devotees, like-minded devotees, Guru Maharaj always says we should associate with like-minded devotees. It's very, very essential to nourish our Krishna consciousness. So we see that how this Bali Maharaj was benefited, and now Arjuna is. Then this particular Brahmana was in South India. He got the complete mercy of Lord Chaitanya, hugged him. But that person has not completed reading Bhagavad Gita, but he just is trying because his guru told him. Now Guru Maharaj is again and again telling, okay, you all do Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, Bhakti Shastri, Bhakti Vaibhav, all my disciples, all of you. So my father doesn't know to read, write, and this and that. No, somehow or other try. Try. Trying is the duty. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will hug you even for the trying. They don't know to read and write. So we think material intelligence, material capability will empower. Then how did Prahlad Maharaj understand all the instructions of Narada Muni in the womb? Some foolish people, they may laugh. Oh, that devotee doesn't know to read and write and they are going for initiation. They are doing this, that. And I'm chanting 16 rounds. I'm following all 4 regulative principles. And 64 angas of bhakti, I'm perfectly following. What is the problem? The transcendental knowledge is to attain this only. To attain the 64 angas of bhakti, genuinely follow with great interest. And you don't have interest. When a great leader will be standing, a great kirtan will be going on, he won't be participating. He will be overseeing, one mantra will not come out of his mouth. What is the use of such a leadership? It's an absolute waste, baby. The new devotee is attaining the greatest benefit. So the most fallen will get the greatest benefit. Whereas the person who are thinking themselves to be very great people will be the greatest losers. They will be the greatest losers because they think themselves to be very great, very intelligent. and they consider so then the devotional service will be very sarala. Devotional service is very simple. A simple-hearted person who's considered by the most intelligent person as a fool is the greatest benefiter. He is getting greatest benefit, whereas the person who's very puffed up due to his own polluted intelligence is the greatest loser in Krishna conscious movement. This is the great speciality of Gaur-Nitai's movement. Gaur-Nitai's movement, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what he did has never done by any other incarnations before. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is very, very, very special. Whatever Chaitanya Mahaprabhu did, no other incarnations did before. So always we used to quote this beautiful, very nice comedy analogy. Like there is a counter. In material world, there was a counter. And in the counter, they were supplying liberation. They were supplying great, great benefits. And people who are big, the counter is there. Like in the railway station, there is a counter to buy ticket or something. Similarly, or in the bank, we have. So there's a big line standing. The great rishis, munis, and big people are all standing in the front. And then big demigods are all standing because they have done a lot of punya karma. They have done great pious activities and they're all standing in the front. And the great Dana Dharma people, kings, everybody is standing in the line. And the front, they are all in the front. The most sinful person who is a very, very bad character and he is sinful person. He has attained a poor birth and he has born in a low-class family, less than a Shudra. All are standing the last. There is almost no opportunity for all these people. And the person who has done the punya karma or the pious activity and the seed of piety is there in the pious activity. Again and again he does dana dharma and again he progresses. And the person who has done sin, the seed of sin is always there and he's again and again performing sin and he's going back and back in the queue and he's depromoted and these people are promoted. In this way, the big queue is standing in the counter and in this way, they are all taken higher and higher positions and given liberation. Like this, it was there. And you know what Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda did? They came and they just opened a counter, another counter, and on the other end of the queue, and they said that, excuse me, now that counter is closed, this counter is open. All of you do about turn. And now everybody has to do about turn, and the most fallen gets the first mercy. The most fallen will get the first mercy. This is Lord Chaitanya Nityananda's movement. Gaura Nitai Sundar ki jai. Nitai Gaura Sundar ki jai. Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai. So in this way, the most fallen gets the first mercy, and all the fallen people are throwing away Yekula, Okula, identification, identification. Everything they are throwing and running towards and looting the market, Jagai and Matai, or looting the marketplace of Lord Chaitanya. Lord Nityananda has opened the marketplace. Padiyache naam hata jivera karan. So they have opened the marketplace for the jiva. Shraddhavan Jan hai, Shraddhavan Jan. So what is the payment? Shraddha, faith on the spiritual master, faith on the genuine servant of the Gauranga Mahaprabhu, faith on the genuine servant of Srila Prabhupada, genuinity, faith. This is the starting of Krishna consciousness. Name, fame, glory, position, money, knowledge, practice of meditation, practice of sincerely following the rules and regulations are not the qualifications. Investing our complete faith on a pure devotee of the Supreme Lord is the qualification. Shraddhavan Jan hai, Shraddhavan Jan. So you're a Shraddhavan. What do? Bhiksha, Koriye Bhiksha, beg for the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, Nityananda, and the pure devotee, and Prabhupada and Acharya Parampara. Beg to their mercy. That's all. That's all. Simple. They give. Before even begging, they are giving the holy name. We beg. Guru Maharaj always says, when you come to the initiation ceremony, you have to beg for your beads. You have to beg for getting the holy name. So he sees to that every disciple beg. Prabhu Rajna Ibai Goriye Bhiksha. Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Karo Krishna Siksha. So you do Bolo Krishna, Bhajo Krishna, Karo Krishna Siksha. That's it. Simple. Simple. We are in the Chaitanya's movement. So Guru Maharaj always says, Lord Chaitanya's movement, we are followers of Lord Chaitanya. We are followers of Lord Chaitanya. So this is a beautiful movement of Krishna consciousness. Understand Krishna conscious movement correctly and follow the right Krishna conscious movement without any deviation. All success will be ours. All success will be ours. There is no doubt. So it is very sure, and we have got this great opportunity. Discount sale is going on. Guru Maharaj was telling a very beautiful analogy 2 days before in Bombay. He was telling your Innova car is 20 lakh rupees. And there is a discount. You have to pay only 1%. Then you can take it and go. So he asked them to calculate. People from Gujarat and Maharashtra was there. And then they said like, Guru Maharaj, 20,000 rupees is coming. Okay, now you're getting Innova for 20,000. Then all the devotees were laughing and they said, yes, we are immediately giving the booking. They will give the booking immediately. Then Guru Maharaj said, this is only an analogy. The Innova will get destroyed in due course after some time. But there is some eternal benefit with this Krishna conscious movement, which we have got is eternal. And we are getting this discount sale offer by Lord Chaitanya Nityananda. It's a limited period offer of Kali Yuga, special at that to starting of Kali Yuga. Right now it's available. And if you are a smart person, you will take this up. Holy name chanting and genuine following of Krishna consciousness. Investing our faith on the pure devotee and Acharya Parampara without any kuti nati, without any politics and diplomacy. And don't invest your faith on your intelligence, rather invest the faith on the lotus feet of the Supreme Lord and Guru. And Acharya Parampara, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai. In this way, certainly success will be yours. So we should be very, very thankful to our Acharya Parampara and Guru Maharaj, eternally indebted. Why thankful? Eternally indebted to them, so that we should give up. Guru Maharaj said, like in initiation, you are having the same day lecture, very beautiful. He said, like in your plate, you have kept some items and you're going to throw it in the fire and you have come to some nivedan. You have come here for initiation ceremony, you have come for some nivedan, full nivedan, arati nivedan, this nivedan, food nivedan is there. So today you're going to do a special nivedan. He said, okay, what is that nivedan? Then Guru Maharaj said, it is Atma Nivedan. Atma Nivedan. So by getting initiation from a bona fide spiritual master, he's proven to be a genuine and sincere disciple, and his empowerment by the spiritual master and Acharya Parampara is proven by his exhibition or manifestation of devotional service and the quality and quantity of Krishna consciousness and the expansion of Krishna conscious movement, the contribution, everything, everybody is coming to become a servant. The order of spiritual master is carrying out till now, and such a pure devotee spiritual master we have got, and we should not miss this opportunity, and we should give this Atma Nivedan, take initiation as soon as possible. Don't delay, and you can delay anything else, but that cannot be delayed. So you should take advantage, work seriously about it, and then take advantage of this Atma Nivedan opportunity, and we get the topmost success, which is Krishna Prema, and beyond that, beyond Paramananda, Krishna Prema Paramananda is Sevananda, getting direct service to the Supreme Personality of Godhead, direct devotional service. The Ananda which we are getting by performing devotional service to the Supreme Lord is more happier than the rasa exchange which is done by individual relationship. So this everything will manifest by this process. Thank you very much. Hari Bol, Hare Krishna, Bhagavad Gita ki jai, Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Guru Maharaj ki jai, Nitai Gaura Premanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Any comments or realization, questions? 5, 4, 3, 2.
Hare Krishna, sir.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, I just wanted to tell that the analogy that man gave, the mercy that Nitai Gaur Sundar is giving to all the foreign souls, that example was amazing.
Jai. Jai, Jai, Jai. Very nice. Jai Gaur Nitai. Anybody else? 5, 4, 3.
Hare Krishna, sir.
Hare Krishna.
Yeah, ma'am was telling one thing which was like, I also had experienced that thing. She was like, he was illiterate and he can go, like, he will be more dear to Krishna. It's not like that. People are like, Kumar is asking for this Bhakti Shastri and all, and
sometimes we say like these people, like my parents don't know how to read and write, and then how can we enroll them like that? And how like beautifully she was giving example, like what about Prahlad Maharaj? So I also felt sometimes like sometimes we think that we are good in this particular thing, but when we got that service, we are zero. And sometimes we don't know anything, and we will get that service, and Guru will empower us, and we also don't know how we did good in that service. So that's a kind of revelation.
Jai.
Thank you, sir.
Jai Guru Maharaj ki Jai. That is the merciful glance of Guru will empower us and change, transform us to perform devotional service. Very nice. Bali Maharaj was telling to the Lord that we were thinking that Indra and his Guru Brahaspati are most learned. And so we thought they are very respectable, very learned scholars. But I found that they could not understand your value. When you come in front of them, they are asking for something material, which is temporary. So what kind of value for the learned scholars' education? Even Brahaspati was the guru of Indra. So this is a verdict of Bali Maharaj, who is an authority, who is another Mahajana like Bhishmadev. So we need to understand that the scholarly education and other things is not the criteria. That is why most fallen gets the first mercy. And we get such a guru, and we got the mercy of Guru. Because we are most fallen, we got the best Guru. And we got the best mercy. Now that Guru Maharaj knows us, we know Guru Maharaj is one thing, but Guru Maharaj knows us is it's totally different thing that, okay, we got success. We got our attempt success in this very same life. So we have to take full advantage of that and, spread the glories of this Krishna message and Guru to one and all. Yare Deko Tare Kaha Krishna Upadesa. Purpose of attending Bhagavatam class, and we are asking you to tell your realization, because like we are speaking after the purport, you have to speak your realization on the purports. So that is the purpose Prabhupada also told. So if we read Bhagavatam, if we attend Bhagavatam, we should also speak Bhagavatam. That is our parampara, like Hari Bol. We don't say Hari, we say Hari Bol, and other person will say Hari Bol. So in this way, it is a propagation movement. It is called a movement, no stagnant. So similarly, Bhagavatam also, when we attend the Bhagavatam, we also should speak Bhagavatam. So soon, all the initiated disciples in this particular group, we are expecting to run Bhakti Vrikshas and regular classes they start taking and preaching. Thank you very much. Wonderful. Anybody else? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Thank you very much for your association. Grandhara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Srila Guru Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Bhagavat Satsang ki jai.
Jai.
Panchakalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhya eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha. So we'll join back tomorrow morning sharp at 5 o'clock with the congregational chanting of the holy name of the Lord. Today nobody joined, and we will continue with our Srimad Bhagavatam class and tomorrow. Thank you very much. Jai Srila Guru Maharaj ki jai.
Jai.
Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Hari Hari Hari.